So, hello and welcome to one more Futurepreneurs workshop. So, we already talked about sustainability and problem solving, about minimum viable product and customer value proposition, And today we finally switching from telling stories to talking numbers. So this might be the hardest workshop of them all, but hopefully Open Circle Capital partner and CEO Audrius Milukas will share his tips and help you to understand the numbers. So please welcome on stage Audrius.
Okay. I have a microphone. I feel important right now. So, hi all. Today I'm not alone. I'm today with my colleague Andrus. Please welcome Andrus too. And actually, he is a financial guru, so he will answer all your questions. And I would like to make this discussion more than the presentation, just because in discussion you get the real answers, and presentation you only see somebody's ideas. So maybe let's jump. Okay, I will move a little bit on the side. Today we have financial workshop. I'm glad to be here with Andrus in the Futurepreneurs, and I'm congratulating you because you came here. It's most important to come, and when you come, then some action comes in your life. So welcome. Shortly, the agenda would be that we have a short introduction. We have financial projections, which is very important for every startup and every company. We have revenue forecasting. Then Andrus will give you one exercise. We have a teams here of this event. Any teams here that has to make exercise, or nobody will make an exercise? You will make it exercise. Okay. So one team at least we have. Okay, then we will have a cost structure, we have a second exercise, again by Andrus, we will have a conclusion, and we have a third exercise. For me, it's everyday work routine, so just shoot the question, because for me, it's everything obvious, and sometimes I may just jump to the other things really fast, but you will please ask the questions, okay? Okay. Let's go. So what we do, introduction, shortly about me, a big picture, but we are running the fund. It's 20 million euro venture capital fund in Lithuania. We have already made 7 investments, deployed about 2 million euros of money to the startups that you already maybe know about us. I have 14 years experience in banking, finance, investments, and so on. Some knowledge in universities, and now I run Open Circle and also a board member of SME Finance. SME Finance is an invoice factoring platform, one of the biggest in the Baltics, and Open Circle is a 20 million euros venture capital fund, which can invest into your startups after this event. Okay, where we are focusing right now, we are focusing on main things that I think all the funds have these buzzwords in all their presentations. This is ICT, internet communication technologies, any marketplaces, any apps, B2B SaaS. It's a deep tech, also a buzzword, but yes, we look for that in Lithuania, and yes, we find some of those. We look for robotics. We like to see robotics, we like to see a hardware, but not so easy to find it in Lithuania, hardware. Usually 70% of all startups come here with ICT that approach us. So 70% ICT, which is the same tendency in all the Europe, on the world. But I would like to see more hardware, more maybe drones, I don't know, more machines, more innovation. And air and space, do we have drones? Yes, we have some drones, not so strong, but still we have drones in Lithuania, few companies. Once again, 20 million euros in technology startups. We can go from early, we can go to late. It doesn't matter. If we see the early, we like it, we can go early. What do we look for? Not everyone will have our money or the money we have from LPs and the government of Lithuania, but we look for the first revenue. It's not a necessary thing, but we look for that. We want to see revenue because the main purpose of business is to make revenue, and we will talk about it. Then we look for strong teams. What is a strong team? It's people, passionate about their idea. They have done some jobs, they have some work experience, they maybe sold already some apps. strong teams. And again, experience, we look for serial entrepreneurs with the strong teams. Why? Because they already know how the things are done, but we're also keen on the new teams also. It's not necessarily only the old people. It can be young ideas and young people and young teams and talented people passionate about their startups. Just to contact us or to see more about us, Facebook and LinkedIn, you will see all the information about us. Financial projections is the first part, and the numbers comes in. Myself, I have raised more than 40 million euros in the last 3 years. And I really know what investors are looking for in your presentations, in your pitches. And they look for numbers. They don't only want to see the great idea, we will change the world, we will clean all the oceans, we'll do everything, but we want the numbers. What's the behind? What's the reason why you're doing that? And of course, the numbers is that they show how you understand your business and how you understand where the revenues will come from. Who will pay for your existence? Who will pay your salaries? Who will pay for your teammates? Who will pay for your RISE office? And etc. And the revenue streams are very important. So it's small numbers, but I hope you can see them. Basically, in any business, it's amount of sales. I don't see this red dot is not working, but you can see from the revenue, which is most important. Number of users, number of customers, licenses you sell, products you sell, market 1, market 2, market 3, whatever. It can be revenues from the product sales, it can be revenues from the projects, it can be revenues from the services quantity, any sales you make. It's just impossible to make business if you don't have sales. And this is the sales types of revenues. Okay. Any questions here? But I think it's all clear. And please don't be shy, ask any questions. So the second thing is cost development. We say to sell something, you have to create something first. Create a product, create a service, create a prototype of some business, I don't know, some app, create an app which users will buy, create a drone, create a software for drone, whatever, but you have to create something. To create something, you have to develop. And the development costs are the CEO. Of course, it's a leader of the team, but without no leader of the team, there's nothing going to happen. And he has to live, he has to pay for his rent, etc., etc. So he has to get a salary. Then we have CMO, marketing officer, CTO, chief technology officer, and other key people. Why I'm going to details here, because it's very important to have a structure. Who is responsible for what in the company or in the team or in the startup? If you see CMO, chief marketing officer, is very important for any app or any SaaS business, because without digital marketing, it doesn't go anywhere. CTO, he has to develop the product. Other key people can be, I don't know, chief legal officer, etc., depending on the business that type you have. But this is the cost of development of your product or service you are making. We can go down a little bit, IT costs, some servers in Amazon, some equipment, it's some small cost like computers, etc. It doesn't really matter too much. Other can be legal, can be accountant. Company cannot run without accountant, as you know, so you need accountant, you need to pay salary for that, you need to make tax for the tax inspections reports. And then we have it like in any startup. I didn't even see any without no first quarter income. There is no income. You start a business, you have only costs. You have 12,000 of salaries, for example. In this example, you have server cost, you have other costs. Total cost would be 20,000 euros a month. And suddenly, I'm gone. It's a bankrupt. It's 20,000 minus. So this is how the usually business starts, and nobody does a projection of financials, and suddenly it goes home and it says to parents or 3 Fs, fools, friends, and family, oh, sorry, I got a bankrupt. It happens, really. But if you do good financial projections, you can see that you need how much? 150,000 euros of investment. And why do you need that? To cover all this cost. And you have to convince the investor that he would put that money, or also free Fs, to put that money, so you would have a money to run your business, to develop a product and make sales. I think it's not very complicated here, but please shoot questions or remarks or doubts that you have. We don't have any startup coming to us without this. It's your financial projections. Why did you come to us? And what you're showing you're going to make. So here maybe two important things on the bottom here. So if you have all the minuses that you made from the salaries and etc., you have to have some cash. There is investment 150,000 euros and the other investment 200,000 euros. So total investment would be 350, and this makes the whole 12 months of working operations for your startup. Don't start business before you get the money. I think it's obvious. You don't want to go bankrupt, you don't want to cry at nights and etc., so you want to make business. So raise the capital, and to raise the capital, you have to show what you're going to do with that money, where you're going to spend, and what you're going to achieve. We're going to talk later. And always look for the income minus cost plus investments. We call it a run rate. How much money you have in account. You have here 130, and it's going down, 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 down. And suddenly, if you don't receive this 200,000 euros, you will go bankrupt too here. So it's a serious thing. So you need to have the money for minimum 12 months of your operations. In the fund, we want 18 months. 12 months is a minimum. 18 months, we want to see that in 18 months, you will have money to run your business. Because if you don't have them, suddenly nobody comes in. And I have investments already done that they didn't get the second 200,000 euros and they're closing operations. And believe me, it's not nice to close operations. It's nice to run them. Questions? Please.
What kind of methods do people use to see the possible revenues?
Okay, we will go to the next slide. It will show to you the methods. So this is also to finalize the first slide. It's a summary. Recurring revenues. I will answer your question after that because it's going to be in the slides. Recurring revenues, monthly recurring revenues. Everybody knows what is a recurring revenue? It's a revenue that comes every month from the same client or for the same contract. And every fund and investor wants recurring revenues. Why? Because it's like a monthly fee that you're going to have it. Recurring revenue is very important. Because when you have only project revenues, the project can end and nobody will buy the second project. So recurring revenues, we look on recurring revenues. So for example, it's like you can pay for Netflix. We can pay for licenses 20 euros a month. And this is recurring. So we have 1,000 clients, $20 or euros per license, multiply it, so you have recurring revenues every month. So this is very important. So this is short development, sales and marketing, sales team and marketing team, IT support, and some other costs. Usually we delete other costs, but it can happen because we want to save a lot of money. Total cost, income cost, and you have for first quarter 80,000 euro account if you're good at fundraising. So the revenue, this is forecast. We'll answer. Next slide will be what funds are willing to see. It's a hockey stick, famous hockey stick. And what does it show? It shows 20% month-on-month revenue growth. And for some people, this is crazy. And for some startup, this is crazy. But we have already in our portfolio companies that are growing 20% on revenues month-on-month. And yes, for you, it's new now because only to make a revenue, it's already a big deal. Yeah, to start a revenue. To make a sale, it's already a big deal. But to grow 20% month-on-month, it's a huge deal. And this is hockey stick shows what funds are looking in the startups. 20% month-on-month grow. Is it clear here? Okay, let's go further. To understand also, when you show your presentation, your financials to the investor, you also have to have scenarios. Pessimistic, realistic, or optimistic. Usually when somebody pitches you, says, oh, I'm gonna conquer the world. Okay, so we say in numbers, I'm gonna do this, that. So this is pessimistic or is it optimistic? And usually we understand that this is optimistic because young people are very optimistic and the startups are usually optimistic. So then we say, okay, you now talking to me about this hockey stick sales, show me the pessimistic plan B. Can you survive with this lower sales? Can you survive here? And then we show some scenarios of financials. So if we before showed that we recurring revenue, for example, is 9,000 after you make a product, 30,000, 50. So then you just make 30% of that and go lower and show will you survive with that numbers. So this is just a financial projection. Okay, revenue forecasting and revenue streams. We have the question, Dovila's friend, I think we had the question. So what kind of revenues we have? Yeah, you ask revenues. This is the main revenue streams we have in all the startups. Usually it's a subscription fees. So you all know Netflix, or you all know maybe Spotify. I have on my business account Spotify, it goes 6 euros every month, bam, gone. So it's a subscription fee. So SaaS model, software models, usually you make some product, people want to use it, like for example our investment Teamgate. Companies want to use it, they buy the license costs 20 euros to 100 euros a month, and you multiply by customers, 1,000, 20,000 customers, this is a SaaS model, software for business, and you have license sales. Okay, not so usual, but also product as a service. You have products, you can license some technology to the third parties. For example, you create technology for the drones to videotape you in the night, and you can sell this license to the million of other companies. Brokerage fees, like when you in Airbnb will show you pay 10% brokerage fee or a booking.com. So it's other different type of revenue, brokerage 10%, 2% it happens. And advertising fees, Google, Facebook, they get a revenue stream for advertising your stuff on Facebook or on Google. Okay, did I answer your question? It's a main one, revenue streams. But usually, I don't know what's your product, but when you create something, you have to understand how you're going to sell it. What's the best thing? How is the best model to sell it?
What kind of arguments people use when they forecast the revenues? Do they use the alternatives of the product?
It's assumptions. Assumptions, just basic assumptions. For example, you say, I don't know, what's your business? What do you want to create? Tell me, something. It's a SaaS, it's a software solution, some app. So, this product. So if it's a product, it's a one-time sales, so you need to sell 1,000 products for 1,000 customers. Do you sell it for business or you sell it for customer? As much as you sell and you have the average price, you multiply and you have the revenue forecast. For example, your product cost is 20 euros, yes, and you have one customer. So what's your forecast? You know, but you see that, oh, maybe I will get 1,000 customers. So you multiply 1,000 by 20 and you will get more money, yes? And then you say, okay, how much customers I will have in the next month, in the next month, and the next month, in 1 quarter. Then you may have to make assumption what your total market is. How many customers there is who will buy your product, please.
But isn't there some like, if there is a product market size, couldn't you calculate by some percent like the potential, because it depends on the size of the market?
Yeah, you can target the percentage, but no, for example, you will say, I will target booking.com market in all the world. It's like 20 billion. Okay, please forecast me how much you're going to take. 5%, 3%, 1%, you know, it's a difficult, you know. You can say, I'm going to target at least 1%, you know. which your target area is, and then work with that. Forecasting is all assumptions. And maybe Andres will help you with the assumptions to make how to make first business model. And just some small, again with the revenue streams, some small examples. We all know Airbnb. Okay, you put a flat there, somebody rents, Airbnb gets 10%. So it's something like brokerage fee. And then they look at the users, how many users coming to the Airbnb every month. For example, they put 1,000 users every month. And for example, they know that their contracts are 30%, that only 30% are going to, from the statistical view, 30% only going to be rented out. So they take the 1,000, put it at 30%, so 300, and multiply it by average cost, and then multiply it by 10% of their brokerage fee. It goes deeper, but it's all the assumptions. Okay, shortly, Tasker, our next investment also, it's a premium. For example, premium license costs 20 euros. Tasker now makes 30,000 recurring revenues on monthly basis, what means that they have a lot of clients, but if they make assumption to grow in the Baltics, for example, they say they took average of their customer, multiply by 20% of license, and they say how much they're going to have in the future. It's basically assumption-based business forecasting. LinkedIn can be a license, can be also a marketing, and also it can be forecasting by product. Last mile delivery, one delivery, 5 euros. If you deliver 100, you get 500. Do you know how much you're going to deliver next month? No, but you can make an assumption. If you made last month 300, and last month after that 270, so maybe it's 10% growth every month. It's just examples of revenue streams. Who helps you to make the sales? Who is helping you to make the revenues? In every company, there should be a sales team, or direct sales, we call it. This is some salesperson. Usually in startups, firstly, it's a CEO, and some maybe chief sales officer, but not commonly because it's expensive. This is direct sales. It's more old school. It's expensive because it's salaries. You have to have chief sales officer, salary 2,000 euros plus taxes, a lot. What is the new school? It's marketing, digital marketing. You know how much money you put into every euro into marketing, and you know how much customers it attracts to you. For example, you put 1 million euros into marketing and 4 million returns from revenue from the clients. It is some examples, 1 to 4. Outbound marketing, TV, radio, press, it's old school also and expensive. Nobody uses that too much in startups. Maybe the Winted, because they're already our star startup. They use that in Germany and France. And distribution channels, it's a very good sales channel, distribution channels. For example, our fund company, Tasker, they use sales representatives of Tele2. You know, this provider, of cell phone provider. They use their sales force. So their sales people are selling also the phones, etc., and then also sell the Tasker software. Why is it good? Why is it new? For example, just you can have you have only paying for the success of the sale. So if the Tele2 sales guy sells the software of the Tasker, they only pay then, and it's cheap. You don't have to employ the sales guy in your team. There's no cost there. So 2, I'm recommending, it's digital marketing, inbound, social media, you know everything about that, and distribution channels. Why? Because you use other companies, people to sell. Questions? Difficult? Not difficult? It's just the types of revenue. It's in every business it's different. but we'll have exercise so we can come up with ideas how you calculate your revenue streams forecast. And in the sales, you come to the investor, you show that you will make a 1 million of turnover of sales in 1 year, and he asks, how are you going to do it? You say, I'm just thought about that, I'm capable to do that. I'm going to just go and sell for 1 million euro. He says, no, please tell me how much sales leads you're going to make, how much meetings in 1 week you're going to make, how much your sales leads, percentage-wise, is converting to a contract. So first you have a sales lead, then you have a conversion rate. You know some conversion rate, already did some sales. And then you only have a paying client, and you multiply by average price of your product or your service. Why it's important? You have to stand out for your numbers that you show to the investor. And if he understands that you understand the numbers, or you can make really good assumptions on your numbers, then he will believe in you, and the angel will put the money in your startup. So assumptions, forecasts are not just simply done. They have to be the reasoning behind. And there's no one answer for you, like what's your source of revenues, and etc. You have to go deeper in that, and then you have to say what's behind the numbers. How much meetings, how much calls, how much money you're going to put in the advertising, and how much is conversion rate to the real clients from that. Okay, maybe more clear we're going to be now. Andrius will show exercise, and please ask more questions.
Hello. So for today we have one exercise, the first one. So I'm not sure if you're going to use laptops if you have, or you're going just to write on paper, or maybe just to think yourself. But the rationale of the first exercise. Yeah, we have a paper. Yeah, so you can come and take a paper. I can put it here, and with some pencils. So the rationale of the first task and what we want you to do, so is for you to create the template of revenue projecting. So for you just to feel how should the template look, and also to fill it. So you can try to project the revenues for the first 12 months of, for example, your startup, for your desired startup or product, or if you really do not have any imagination for today, so you can, for instance, try to take Netflix. I guess every one of you know Netflix, and just try to put logic rationale for this, and how should the revenue projecting should look for Netflix. So in the bottom corner, you can look for an example. So basically what we want for you to do, so when you project the revenue number, so revenue number, for instance, if you project in an Excel, it's always should be a formula. So you shouldn't put any number in revenue cells. And in order to get the revenue, you need to project, for instance, products. You need, as if we have a SaaS business, software as a service, when you need to project some conversion rates, and it's really just business of assumptions. But for now, just to try to put logic and just try to learn the template and just put some numbers, and also, if you can, try to project some revenue channels. So try to also divide your revenues to the direct channel. Try what you will get from outbound marketing, what you will try to sell through resellers, and so on. So we have 20 minutes for this task, and we are available here to help you if you have any questions, just for you to fill the template.
And I think questions should come here. So basically, this is a template. Fill out for your business.
Sorry? Yeah, so Audrius just said me that it's really simple task. So just to go through, if you do not know how to start it, so just look at this table. Firstly, look for drivers for your revenue. So if you are going to sell some items, if your business is going to sell some items, so of course, first thing is units. How many units are you going to sell? Also try to predict the price. If you are going with a Netflix example, so just think how Netflix gets the revenue. So of course, first thing is users, and then you can also think about pricing plans and so on. So just really simple table, and the result should be a revenue cell right here.
I like to see it as a very simple way of putting things. I sell ice creams. My startup sells ice creams. How much unit I think I'm gonna sell next month ice cream? From my thinking. Maybe it's gonna be 0, maybe it's gonna be 2, maybe 3 units. How many units I will sell next month? If I don't know this, if I don't understand what's the market for example, plastic ice creams, I don't know, whatever. So I make a market assumptions. I read, I look a lot how many ice creams were bought last year. How many ice creams were bought in the Baltics last year? It's all by reading assumptions. Then I think, okay, I'm gonna sell 1. Okay, 1. Then what's the price? 50 euros. Then if I sold a more, then 7, and it's all multiplies and adds up. So it's very simple, just nothing to do here. Every month, units, price. And if you don't have a product like here, if you don't have a product, it's 0. You will have 0 sales. And you can project even half year of 0 sales. It also can happen. But after that, you have to understand how much population there is of young people who will buy ice cream. And there is statistic, usually statistic department, everywhere there is a statistics, and on that you have to make assumption. It's not easy. Please. So basically here we show the template. It's a template for forecasting, nothing more. So I don't know, maybe 5 minutes and then we talk. And it's very good to have examples of your business, because we can go through one example. So I think we have a team here, so we can talk about that team. We will talk about you, definitely. Two products. Okay. Or maybe you have already some services or a product already. Please, a question there. Please. Of course. Yeah, you can be anywhere sold. For example, if I have a boutique ice cream and I want to sell it, I can sell it through the e-shop, even like through the Barbora. I can sell it through Barbora. I can have a sales manager, sales team, who will go door by door knocking and selling, and I have e-channels, It's all the same. And then you just make all assumptions and multiply by price, and you will have forecast. Vaikai vaikšto ant pečių, žinai. Okay, a few minutes more, and I think we'll go to the questions because it's more interesting.
Mes galvojam daryti programėlę, gal jūs žinote, kaip tenai yra tie pinigai išdirbami už reklamas, kaip ten apskaičiuoti, nes kaip reklamas daryti ten su Google Ads, tai aišku yra, bet kaip apskaičiuojama, kiek maždaug generuoja ten tas aplikacija ar puslapis pagal vartotojų skaičių.
Žinot, programą kaip social kažkoks tinkliukas, kur nes dėsite reklamas?
Jo, tai vis tiek yra tam tikra programėlė, kuri turi funkcionalumą, tai va.
Tai
Šiaip jeigu prognozuojant pajamas, tarkim, jūsų startupus, tai reikia žiūrėti tos visus tokius metrikas, kaip yra impressions per click, impressions, nežinau,
Ten tas click-through
ratio, ir tada per šitą prizmę.
Tai jo, tai žinom, kaip tai veikia, bet gal jūs žinot kokius nors skaičius, kaip, nes, pavyzdžiui, pasigūglinom, tai rašo, kad tenai paspaudimo kaina yra apie $2, bet realiai Lietuvoje ta kaina yra daug mažesnė, nes visiškai kita rinka yra.
Šiaip reikia labai žiūrėti
panašių verslų. Šitų panašių.
Ai, tai pagal raktažodžius jau ieškoti tos aukciono kainos.
Pagal kiek kaina pasakė. Čia yra, savikaina už kiek tu dėsi.
Ai, tai tas pats puslapio turėtojas, jis nustato kainą.
Jeigu tavo bus programėlė, taigi tu pas save dėsi reklamą, tai tu ir nustatai tą kainą.
Supratau.
Tau tik tai, žinai, klausimas, ar pas tave dės tie, žinai, iš vis ateis kažkas, žinai, su tie norės.
Aišku, daug kebliau viskas pasirodė.
Jo, bet geriausia, žinau, kiekvieną biznį atskirai, žinai, žiūrėti, žinai, tau galbūt kainuos, nieko nekainuos susetapinti, žinai, tai tu gali duoti už €1 tą, žinai, dėti reklamą, už vieną kliką ar kažką, žinai, įvairiais modeliais. So who wants to go first, or who wants to have questions?
Dar nebaigė.
Bet čia nėra ką baigti. Kas nori kažkokį egzamplą padaryti?
Okay, so can we maybe start some examples from the audience? Who would like to present your task? Yes.
Matau, kad gerai, va, tai yra viskas nuo paprastų dalykų prasideda.
Greitai.
Kaina yra, viskas yra.
Reikia čia pažiūrėti. Tai jeigu, pavyzdžiui, jeigu parašom čia duoti kokią. Jo, jeigu reikia pažiūrėti.
Okay, so I think the time is up. Can everyone agree? It's okay for this task? So maybe anyone want to present what you did, just to have a quick, review of your work? Anyone? Or should we continue presentation? And so Because we do not really want to pick, anyone who doesn't want, so. Okay, so Audrius says that we should overview this team. So would you like to present your numbers? Okay, so they are shy. Yeah.
Okay, we will have this slide we will share with you, so
Yeah.
you can make a, and then you can even email us questions, and because if you're shy, etc., it's difficult to understand how many units we should sell. It's difficult. It's not easy. But then if you know average price, you can do an assumption. This is assumption. It's not a core. Assumption. So if nobody wants to ask questions, we can move further. And after that, after presentation, we'll also talk about your business and how you make assumptions there. But we are not experts, we just advisors how to calculate. It's different types. Okay, the cost structure. We already talked about a little bit about cost structure, and some attention here is the same template. Nothing's here new. We have a template here, we have salaries, maybe we have some outsourced contracting, but salaries of CEO, CMO, CTO, and the key people of the team. Can you not pay salaries? Yes. If it's possible, better not pay salaries, then involve more people, give some shares to them, and make it for free, because it's all, money wasting things. Salaries, it's a bad thing. Why? Plus 70% of taxes, and you go bankrupt again. Okay, let's go further. It's just a template of costs you have to understand in your business, and before you start a business, please make a cost structure. What salaries you're going to pay, or what computers you're going to buy, what services you need for your product to run. Do you need a server, or etc.? Anything. Do you need marketing? Oh, already have a CMO. I don't need a marketing, no cost. No, you will have to pay marketing. You have to pay digital marketing for Google to find your product on the Google. You have to pay for a Facebook, and etc. You will have to have costs. So this is the cost structure. And basically it's simple. Salaries, marketing, IT costs, some other costs. Some maybe you don't know. We always put other. Maybe some legal fees. Oh, I find a customer, but I have to make a contract with him. Who's going to help me to make a contract? I have to find a friend who knows some legal things and make a contract with him. So basically this is a template for you to use. So before we have a template of revenue. So this is a revenue template, and the next thing goes cost template. And if you even don't know everything, but you show an investor that you want to know and you want to understand that, and he will put some lines there, so he already will know that you understand something and you want to make business more clear. You understand the cost structure, understand the sales. I'm repeating myself, but I want to just finalize that you have sales, revenues, and you have costs. So already you know how much you're going to earn. Okay, let's go further. It's one exercise. Okay, this is the same and important of cash flows. So why it's so important, why we're struggling here to say that please do the math, how much money your business is going to make. Because the second thing why the business fail is because nobody made forecast of cash flow. Second thing. Who knows the first thing why business fail? Why startups fail? The first thing is that you come up with a beautiful idea of making clouds not white but pink, but nobody needs that. So it's number one. Number two, financials. And if you don't go here, don't start nothing. Don't waste your time. Don't waste the time of the investors. Stay at home, go to work to the bank, and get career there. To not go bankrupt, it's very important, just common sense. If you need to pay for something, delay your payments. Yeah, it's a delayed payment, 60, 90 days, 120 days. If you charge on a product of SaaS or a license, try to charge for 1 year. Try to charge customer for 1 year, not for 1 month. You will get 1 year money already in. So you will have money for your CMO and for your development of product. So charge more for 1 year. Reduce need of inventory. In SaaS, in business, in ICT, there is no inventory. But for example, if you're creating a drone, you have to have assemble some things, you have to have inventory. Inventory, what is the inventory? It's a frozen cash. Nobody pays for that, it's your costs, and you also don't want that. Use alternative financing, which is very popular now. Platforms, business angel platforms, use the money of other people. And I was taught in my basic years that use the money of 3Fs. And everybody knows who's a 3F. You don't know? And fools. Always use money of other people. Okay? Please.
Is it possible to use factoring as a new company? Let's say one way agrees to sign that.
Yes, it's possible. Yeah. For example, you sold already for 1 year of licenses for 100,000 euros. You sold it, but your customer says, listen, I'm going to pay you only after 6 months because it's my model of business. Oh, you say, okay, 6 months is okay. Then you take the invoice, he accepts it, and go to the factoring company or the bank, and he will finance you. So because the factoring is a very good product because the business, the settlement and the business already done. 2 sides already approved that they want to make business and somebody will pay. Of course, if your customer is very weak, so nobody will finance that, Yeah, but if he's strong, for example, I don't know, Google venture capital fund comes to me and says, sell me all your companies, I will pay you in 2 years. I will get any bank financing for that, Okay, some metrics here. Andrius put it here. I'm not so keen on metrics, but in all the startup world, everybody likes metrics, and you will have to understand them. Monthly cash burn, how much money you burn in a month. Net burn rate, it's revenues minus gross burn. And there's some buzzwords here again, but you have to come and ask, for example, me and Andrius, and we will tell you more. Mostly, we calculate monthly cash burn and run rate. We call it run rate. How much cash you have in your account for how many months you can run. Very simple. If you, for example, burn for the salaries and development 20,000 euros a month, and you have an account of 100,000, it's normal that you run only 5 months. And after 5 months, you will go bankrupt. If you don't get angel investment again. And it's very important because you have to understand you have the money for 18 months, 12 months, not for 5. So we use that. More about all the calculations, you can talk with Andrius or you can email us. In every type of other businesses, there are other calculations of ratios, we call it, financial ratios or other ratios. For example, we go to London, talk with some other VC guys, and they talk about some buzzword, blah, 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 you don't understand anything. So you even ask by written, what do you mean by that? What's your LTV? What's your client lifetime value? Okay, what does that mean? It means how much cash is your client generating by the time he is in your company using your services. So it's a lot of buzzwords. And I see you young people, you don't have to learn them all by heart. You just have to read them in Google and understand. Break-even point, also will not go too much deeper here, but break-even, every investor will ask you, what's your break-even point? When it's going to happen? When you're going to stop burning my money and you're going to start earning money? So if you receive my 100,000 euros of investment, and your run rate is 5 months, you burn 20,000 a month. After 5 months, are you generating sales to cover those or not? Are you generating revenues to cover your cost or not? So what's your breaking even point you have to understand in your business? Questions here? Okay. Exercise number 2. Andres, please.
Okay, so you have your first revenue streams for 1 year, and now we want you to have your costs. So just try to the main rationale of this is just, again, to create a template and try to divide your cost to the main areas which will produce some result. So for instance, you can go to development, you can go to marketing, you can go to other costs which is necessary. So just try to list all these categories, and then when you have your revenue and you have your cost, try to project how much investment you need, and then you will run out of money and you will need another investment. Or just try to project just for 1 year straight. So again, 10-20 minutes for this task, just for you to learn the templates and to have a full view of revenues and cash and needed investment.
Questions?
Any questions?
Manufacturing facilities, what should include?
Okay, so here, manufacturing and facilities. So basically, manufacturing by this means cost of goods sold. So for instance, if you are an IT startup, you doesn't have this, but cost of goods sold is basically, okay, so I'm thinking, yeah, basically, for instance, just simple example. So if you want to produce something, so you need to have materials and to buy them from another parties. So these are, like for 1 unit, it's fixed cost. Or in economical terms, for many units, it's variable cost. So basically, whatever you will do, so you will have this cost, and you cannot, lower them or higher them. Of course, you can try to negotiate and so on, but we always will be there. So it's like manufacturing cost.
Example would be if you want to create a new car model, you have to assemble it with the parts. So your cost of material is buying the parts from the third party. Development, creating something, it's more people cost, staff cost, salaries, manufacturing, material.
So basically, when you go to the COGS, you necessarily have to have this if, for instance, you manufacture something. For instance, you can, if you go to other categories, for instance, sales, you can say, okay, we do not have cash right now, so we will lay off all our salespeople and we will try to survive, and you still can. But if you are doing something and your main business, is to manufacture stuff, you always will have these COGS or manufacturing cost.
Maybe interesting example, that drone company that went bankrupt in US, which was buying drone components from China. So they went bankrupt just because they were cheaper components in China, and they were buying them from them, and the competition was bad for them. So they had cost of material, and you cannot go out from them. But if you're creating an app, you can at night work yourself. There's no cost, right? Your cost is yourself, your health, and you're creating an app. So there's no material, no manufacturing. Of course, you can say economical salary there is, but you work at night, so you don't have this risk of material. It all depends on the startup business type you have.
What do you mean by legal fees? What do you mean by legal?
Okay, so legal fees, again, it could be categorized as other expenses. But for instance, if you have a startup, let's say, just a simple example, you are negotiating the investment agreement, and typically both startup and venture capital fund are hiring lawyers. Also, you can hire lawyers for other, reasons. So just really belongs to other cost. So this is like, example, you do not need to follow it step by step. Like the main goal is just to have the lines and the names you think which suits your business or your pursued business.
The legal fees can be establishment of the company. The legal fees, the notary, some registration fees. Usually you can have that. And so you see in the example there is €1,000 in the first month, so then it's end. And maybe they're going to start only in July when you have a first contract, or you pay to the lawyer here for a sample contract. He makes a sample contract, you put it on your website, and so you already have one-time legal fees. Other, anything, business cards here, anything can be here. Marketing, once again, it can be paid to the Google. For example, all the businesses that we have marketing Google costs. Because if you're not on the AdWords on the Google ads, nobody finds it. There's no you. So the cost is necessary. So if I would be a startup, I would develop something myself. If I'm a brainiac, if I know IT, if I can work at night, I will develop something myself. So this is going to be zero. It can be zero. Or your teammates, one is CTO, he can develop something. Then manufacturing facilities. I don't have, if I develop a startup of IT, I don't have assembling parts. I don't have materials what I buy. I don't have to buy sour cream or milk for my ice cream if I'm IT. So also will not have this. I'm creating this myself. I don't have this stuff cost. Maybe I have assistant, or maybe I'm not. Also can be zero. And usually the first startup here, all zeros here. Okay? Sale costs, some sales, cost of sales representative. I like more speaking lively, but I can do that. So any questions here? It's, again, a sample of the cost structure. You don't have to follow it, but you have to know that. And when you talk with investor, he will ask you, what's your cost structure? And you will have to answer, this is my cost structure. And maybe he's something missing, he will tell you, or if not, he will compliment you. You made a good job, nice done. Anyone wants to share the experience of doing that in their own startup or business they're creating? Do you want to talk about it? You guys? What kind of business you doing? What kind of startup you doing?
It's a platform.
Yes.
It's equipment rental for traveling parents.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to figure out how to calculate because it's a brokerage fee
Okay.
from the customers.
And if you talk about cost, what cost you gonna think?
Mainly like for the team at the beginning. So
Commercial, marketing, some costs?
marketing
Team, marketing,
and IT.
development, IT. Exactly. Simple as that.
With the cost, it's like pretty much clear.
Okay, with the revenue part. You have to look for the statistical things. Usually there is a lot of statistics, how much families are traveling. You have to look for that kind of statistics.
Because it's like the fee from two sides, from people who are renting their equipment and
Yeah,
the ones who using the service. So it's pretty much clear with the first part. Like, you know, like
yeah.
the amount of families in the area, so you can calculate. But like to forecast how many.
Some stupid ways to forecast, take 10% of the families. Say I'm going to target 10%, because sometimes if you target all the market, investor will say, no, it's too ambitious. So for example, it's a million of families are traveling.
I'm calculating at the moment like for the whole Baltics. So it's
Yeah.
like 900,000 moms in the area, and I calculated 15% of it, which is like
Okay, very good, and very good example. And then take 15 as your base case scenario, take 20 as maybe your optimistic way, and take 5 as a pessimistic. Yeah, and you will have 3 scenarios, and look how you're going to survive at pessimistic way. It's
a people who are who might potentially rent.
yeah, exactly.
Calculate the ones who are going to use this service because it's like coming. I know the amount of tourists
the same assumptions as you said. Take the whole amount of and say I'm going to target 5% of the market.
And also you can always look from the effort side. So how many people could you, for instance, reach by direct marketing or by the outbound marketing, inbound marketing? So for instance, if you look for these people who will use your platform, so you can check, if I'm going to use some inbound marketing channels, for instance, Facebook, Google, and so on. So you can check what is going to be your budget. Then you can try to find numbers, what like audience you can reach by putting these marketing budgets to the market, and then to look to some conversion ratios. So for instance, usually there is no, such information what you can reach, but what companies are doing. So they are having some tests. For instance, I am going to spend 1,000 euros in Google Ads, and we'll see what traffic it will bring to our website. So it, for instance, 1,000 people. Then you need to also check the conversion ratio. So for instance, how much of these people really try something, for instance, some freemium accounts, how much converts to the paying customers, and so on and so on. So basically, of course, there is for some kind of businesses a lot of data, but usually as we see startups just, working for 1-2 years, and they are still, polishing their strategy and their assumptions, where to put these marketing budgets and how to forecast what we will get from this.
And to finalize, your questions are welcome after this, and also in emails and calls to us. We will help you, because if we help our ecosystem, we have job to do, and if you don't have, there's no startups. So
just a really short question, because Audrius mentioned it in his presentation, the one other cost which is necessary for running company, and I see that it's not here. So maybe anyone can notice this, which must be in your template, because there is one really small, in some cases, cost, but you should have it if you have legal entity.
I know. Pick me.
But maybe anyone will try to guess what you really need. Yes, it's accounting. So if you are projecting this, so you always need to know these facts and things, and not to forget that you need to put it to your plan. Because
CEO and an accountant is a must on the company. It can also be 20 euros per month or even 1 euro per month, but still, please. No, it's legal, but accountant can be outsourced companies with, it's very common now, accountants to hire them for 100 euro a month, and don't do accounting yourself. Don't be a musician and a poet and everything in one, concentrate on startup. Okay, maybe you want to share, but I'm thinking to go further to the questions and further to presentation, okay? Or we have some questions, guys, about the costs. So we went through the sales. Now it's cost model example. Everyone has, every business has its own cost models. You will see that if you Google that cost model example, you can even have videos in Google, and it will explain to you everything, You can Google everything, and you can ask us too. Okay, and we are running to the end, and this is some conclusions we have. So once again, I think we all have dreams, yes. We want to start a startup, we want to conquer the world, we want to earn some money. It's normal and it's good, and it's a capitalist system, very good. But to prepare good for that, please use our tips or read Google also. So what do we want as investors? So we made already 7 investments. Average investment was 150,000 euro. We look for the teams, we give them money, we ask them something in return. We want to see detailed forecast, at least for 1 month. Nobody's listening. For 1 year. Okay. Still somebody hears that lady here. So still somebody is not sleeping. 1 year. But if you go further down the line, international funds want to see 18 months at least. It's too risky for them if you have only money for 6 months. It is how it is. Set milestones. So if you have forecasted that you're going to spend 100,000 euros in 3 months, what's going to happen after these 3 months? Are you going to make sales? Is there going to be a product already made? No. Is there going to be a magical ice cream that you're going to sell then? What happens after you're going to spend 100 or 200 or 20,000 euros? Set the goals for yourself. The goals should be there, because if there is no goal, we can spend the money on parties. Why to spend time on something else? Sales growth. Okay, forecast 3 to 5 years period. It's a good point, but I'm not sure anyone if you're gonna make it good, because I couldn't make it good also. So this is only a vision. Sales growth. All the angel investors and funds are looking for 20% month-on-month sales. And everybody says to each other, you are crazy. There is no companies who can grow 20% every month. But there is. And you have to target, you have to be there with the best. 20% growth. Sold 100 ice creams. Next month, 120. Next month, 20% more. And if you grow like that, angels will give you money. We're also part of the Litban, Lithuanian Business Angel Network. We were founders as a fund. And you can go there, you will have 100,000 euros of investments from 70 angels. The people who have money look for the ideas that you have. So when you prepare good, he will give you money. Revenue streams, there was a questions there. Already mentioned, you can sell the product, you can sell the license, you can have a license monthly. It's various type and case by case in any business. Recurring revenue, I'm glad that somebody said that they don't know that here. Recurring revenue, that revenue comes every month. Every month, Antanas or Petras is buying my product. And this is like subscription fee, the best model. Telia, Tele2, any companies, they wish to have subscription fees because it's the best model. The customer will pay you. Spotify, I cannot delete that app and I'm paying 7 euros every month. It's a total good business for them. And they're forecasting my revenue, my payments, they're forecasting for 10 years. I want to delete it, but I can't. Okay, so recurring revenue, important. Transaction-based revenue. If you made some transaction, you made a project, you finish that, somebody pays you, it's a one-time. Service revenue, you do a service all the time, like a Spotify or something. Project revenue, the same as transaction. Transaction per one, project per project. Cost structure, develop a product, calculate the cost of goods, sales and marketing team, support. This is your cost structure. Sales channels, direct sales team, expensive, old school, delete it. Digital marketing, do it. Outbound marketing, TV, radio, good, but for the older business. For the business that already generate EBITDA. Use distributor channels. Let somebody else sell your product. Beg them to sell your product. That's why you will not have your sales team. Somebody else will sell your product for you. Difficult, but when you make one sale, you will have millions of users. Once again, Tele2 and Tasker. As a Tasker LT, look at the page, you will understand. Importance of the cash flow, why me and Andrus are looking at the cash flow of the startup, because if they're going to bankrupt, I'm going to be fired. So it's easy like that. So we look at the cash burn rate monthly. How much money they burn in 1 month and how much money they have in next month and how many months they're going to survive with that money. Because once again, nobody wants to go bankrupt. Some metrics, monthly recurring revenue, we talked about that. Monthly churn base, maybe somebody has the questions. The churn means how many customers are leaving you. Monthly active users, if you have a web page, you want to do social media commercials, the guy asked there. You have to calculate your active users. Lifetime value, how much money in all lifetime in your business the customer lives in your business. Customer acquisition cost, very important because how much cost for you to have one client. For example, we spent in SME Finance, we spent like something like 1,000 euro for acquiring a customer. It's a money for a sales officer, it's a money for marketing costs, it's a money of renting office, and everything combined goes to the one client. So when investor comes, he says, how much money you have to pay to acquire a new client? And I say 1,000 euros. Okay, and then he says, and how much money are you earning in his lifetime with the client? I say something like 4,000, 3,000 euros. Oh, okay, so it's a ratio 1 to 3. You invest 1,000, you get 3,000 back. Yeah, nice business. I want to invest in you. Some ratios, they differ in every time of business, but you have to learn them, or if you don't know, go Google it. If you don't know, call us, we will help you with that. We're open circle, we are open to help people. Okay? Exercise number 3, to combine the sales and cost, and Andres will
So just
work on that. Please.
so just as we understand, you are doing your first pitch deck is at this Futurepreneurs program. So now the goal is to combine the first 2 tasks and just simply provide information for investor. How much money do you need? Also the thing which is not in the slide but which is really important, what will you achieve for this money? And also you can divide how this investment will be spent. So for instance, you're going to develop a platform, you're going to spend 20% of sales and marketing and so on. So just the task is just to prepare a slide for investors to simply see the need of investment from you and what will be achieved for that investment.
Difficult for me. Let's say in simple example. Okay, we want to make some product. So cost to make it is here, for example, 75,000 euros. Cost is to create a robot who will deliver a cold Coca-Cola to you. There is already a startup like this. Cost to sell, add that, and you will know how much money you need for a funding from investor. So this is in a timeline. So when we learn in 1 month, 1 year period, in 1 year period, how much money you need to spend to create a product and to sell it, okay? How much in 1 year money you need to ask from the investor to not go bankrupt, to finance your activity, and to see the structure of the costs just for yourself, basically cost structure. So we learned to forecast revenues and we learned to forecast costs. So now you know how much money you need for 1 year. Questions? In yellow, expected revenues. In blue, funding needed. Costs. And you go to investors say, okay, I need 150,000 euros. What are you going to do with that? I'm going to develop a product for 75,000 euros, and I'm going to hire a sales team for 50,000 euros. And after 1 year, I will have product running and sales running. Basically, it combines all our exercises. Is it clear, or is it just finalizing final thought, you know? Finalizing show of your financial view. Let's do it, or you have questions? You just have to combine. First, put a revenue table. Right, this is beautiful revenue and cost table. You put the revenue, you put the cost, and on the bottom you know how much money you need. It's simple as that. It's always, look at this, at the project or the startup as your wallet. Something goes in, something goes out, something is left. Please. To be honest, I think less than 30% is correctly calculated. But you understand that if you don't calculate it and if you don't have a view or your dream or some calculations, then you will be zero correction rate, you know, zero correcting. You know, like you will be totally failed, you know. But when you shoot and you guess 30%, it's also very good. But for example, if you come to me as an investor and you will say that, hey, look, here, 100,000 euros of cost appeared from out of nothing. And I will say, so how did you don't understand it? How did you don't notice that? Where did it came from? Why? I say, my friend came and he thought maybe let's take that company, let's pay 100,000 euro and they will develop something for us, some marketing strategy. Hey, no. We didn't agree on that. We agreed that every month you will have this cost and maybe in the April you will say 1,000 can be spent more on something. And you will say, let's adjust our budget and let's change it and let's make 1,000 here. You know, but imagine if you go 100,000, whoa, sorry, I don't have that money. And if you go say, there's no money in my account, and a very usual thing, like we said, the number 2, why the startups fail. My money is over. Please, Angel, give me some more money. Hey, we didn't agree on that. We set 1-year plan, 1-year revenues, 1-year costs, 1-year milestones every month. We agreed on that. I gave you money, you have to deliver me too. Yeah, but I need more money because I just ran out. No, you made some other decisions. You made some your steps, you know, and I have to think, do I trust you then if you made some other decisions?
Yeah, for instance, just think of example if the startup which wants to develop, for instance, application comes and says that we, for instance, need, 60,000 to create it because we need 6 developers to hire, or maybe 10 developers to hire, and we will pay 6,000. And then after that, after half a year, we come to us and say we need more money because we find out that average salary is 10,000, not 6,000. So this example that we were not projecting correctly. This is at a very simple level, but still. So we failed at really, really simple task just to find out what is average salary for their developers.
And to add, we have a company which promised to make a business in 1 year with 200,000 euros of investment, and they came now with 400 additional, to ask for 400,000 additionally. And the fund partners don't trust them, and we have a problem. And we don't know what to do. You know? So we don't want those problems, and we want good forecasts, maybe not so, up and down, not 100, 200, or 1,000, 1,300, okay, that's okay. And it's very good for you to prepare and look at this presentation and to prepare and to go with your pitch to the LID ban, Lithuanian Business Angel Association, where young people as you with your teams go and pitch there and look for the angels who has 5,000, 20,000 euros and they want to invest in you. You know why? Because the money is sitting on their account and they do nothing. So they want new ideas, they want fresh ideas, and they want to invest. You just have to find the right match with the angel. And to find a good match, who are you going to think he will give you money because you prepare good with presentation or you prepare bad with presentation? So it's like simple as that. What do you think, Andrus?
Without revenue, yes? So I believe usually, maybe in Lithuania the term is a bit like more, but if you look at the bigger markets, USA, UK, so basically investor gives 12 months pilot run for them just to develop and try to reach first revenue. So I would say maybe 12 to 18 months to max without revenues. And then you need to start to get some tractions. It also depends from business to business.
And okay, you will receive all this presentation. They're going to be shared with you. And please take time with questions, not only about the financials. Ask anything from the venture capital, from investing, from the business point of view. You have now the access to #1 fund in Lithuania at the moment, the active and the biggest. So please shoot. We are here. Different strategies here. We can sell after 1 month. If somebody will give us good price, we can go to IPO, which is less happening in Europe, actually, to be honest. And usually it's a sale to the big company, big corporates, or to another competitor in the market. For example, most of our SaaS, like even Teamgate, we want to sell to the Salesforce, or Tasker, we want to sell to the other companies which are working in the same area, because they have more cash than our Lithuanian startups. Please. How difficult is for what? Forecasting. How difficult? Andrew.
So so it's again just a game of assumptions and assumptions and assumptions. It could take, I don't know, 1 week, 2 weeks for you just to put all the pieces to the table, and still you will not be, happy about this. So it's really, if you have two sides, you an investor, it's just to prove your logic. But for instance, you can, like the market is big enough, and also you can make this amount of meetings. You see that, or you try it for some months, some tests, you see some conversion rates. For instance, if you are selling software, for instance, if you're doing some social media, so you can say to investor, okay, look, so we did some tests, we see our conversion rate, we see that we can attract with 1,000 euros budget, 1,000 premium clients, then we can convert to 10 customers, so please give us 10 more and we could invest and we could get bigger traction. So it's just assumptions on assumptions game. Yeah.
Look on this as a game. Don't look at this as a problem, as a challenge. Look at this as a game, how you think your business will run. How many customers will you attract? How are you going to attract them? Just make 10 calls from 10 of your friends. How many friends already want to use your service or your app or something, and you will understand the basics. For example, again, ice cream or app, whatever. Call 10 your friends. Do you want to use it? Yeah. For how much you want to use it? Oh, for maybe €1 I will pay. I don't want to pay more, And from 10 you have 3 clients, and that's already an assumption. That's already a statistical assumption. But then you have this all those applauses, those monkeys are survey monkeys, everything. They help. When I was a student in Vilnius University, I made a lot of surveys. You put 100 survey people, they will answer for you, understand what's your market already. Statistics help a lot. Statistics will help you a lot to understand and honest statistics, understand how many people, how many businesses going to use your service or your products and for how much.
How many these are necessary, like to be the survey credible? For example, we are doing one now. We already have more than 300 responders, but I'm not sure it's enough.
It's this. It's no. For me as an investor, if you come to me with 300, I would say that's too little. On the Baltics, on the Baltic market, I would want to see 10,000, something like myself. I don't know, Andrius, what do you have in your experience?
Well, I can say you from statistical point of view. Yeah, it's I think from statistical point of view it's about 700. If you really had a good quality, I mean by different kinds of people and so on, so you can start to make statistical conclusions from that. But again, it's usually the variety. It's not so good if you're especially doing it yourself. So it maybe should be a bit better. But you have this, you can look at the internet, look for confidence levels, and then you can find out real reach for few.
But you said 700? About? Why did you came up with that number?
So it's just statistical formula that if you want to have 95% confidence interval from statistical again, yeah, it's about.
Yeah, ask Andrius, he's more clever. So I want to see the market. Yeah, but you can send it out, you can use companies, you can ask friends to send it out. As much as you will get more data, you will be more confident in yourself. But once again, you can start operating and you can see on your numbers how they're going to react. I worked at the bank for like more than 10 years. And for example, from 100 meetings with the clients, you have 10 clients who want to make business with you. And from those 10, you sign like 2 to 3 contracts. So it's usual statistic that we have in the market of banking. So then you can Google it even, So it's your area, I don't know, your area. Once again, in what your area you are, you have to Google it, what statistics are. Because there is no new areas of businesses. Something was already invented somewhere in Western Europe, and there is a statistics there. And we, of course, fell below something, so 30% of the statistic of Western Europe, but we go there. Yeah.
So
my opinion.
Again, when you are forecasting revenues, because I see that we get a lot of questions about this topic, which is actually really unclear. And if you would ask, I don't know, investment banker in London, he would say, I guess, the same thing, that maybe he would use a lot of more like smart terms, but it's again assumption game. But for instance, one case is if you go from the market approach. So to put simply, we recommend to start a startup if the market size is 1 billion or more. That if you can capture 1% of the market, it could be still a reasonable share. And the next point is how much you could reach of the clients. So for instance, if your solution is like really, for instance, big software for some big companies, so you can say that, okay, so we have a task for 1 year to try to approach 10 of them and sign 1 of them. And if we would sign with one company, so our revenue would be, I don't know, 300,000. So this could be, a rationale for your forecasting.
Okay, we still have 15 minutes. Use your time, guys.
How do investors look to the people who are like adding the cost by paying themselves in development?
Normal.
And like, what is the like a maximum amount of money you can pay for yourself to not?
It's the market average. For example, if you're IT guy and you want to pay for yourself 10,000 euros, so it's nonsense. And if you want to pay 3,000 euros, so it's maybe okay, if it's a good IT. If you're a young developer, maybe 1,000 euros, So, it's always looking at logical things, do not to be more greedy, and you know, we also have to pay for our homes, you know, food and everything, you know. So please.
So we did all the calculations, and it seems not realistic at all. And we because it's
Did you bankrupt or?
no, it's like too many millions coming in, and we didn't think like it's not it shouldn't be like that. But we just took the real statistic data from other labs which works in USA. Other statistics, what can be perceived because we are doing recycling thing with nanoparticles. So of course a lot of knowledge needed in this, but still.
Very good answer. Very good point. When you see that it's not realistic, think about what's wrong with it. A US market or Europe? Different markets. Europe statistics is different than US statistics. Don't go to US statistics, my opinion. Then too many millions, make a pessimistic scenario. Make now 5% of that. And say to yourself, if we achieve only 5% at what we are forecasting, we're gonna be millionaires.
It's already 5%.
No, you already took 5% from the market. So take 5% from those 5%. Understand? That maybe you are too optimistic. Maybe your competitors are too good. It's nothing working. Andres will help you after that. And
Here we have all the efficiency rate.
please.
And we are changing like all the numbers automatically, and there's a total of total, and it's still green.
We have to go deeper. Andres will help you. And somebody maybe has questions. Others, for me, not Excel sheet. So, okay, guys, free time. Who wants to stay, ask questions, you can stay. Who wants to go, you can go. And thank you for your attention.